Hello and welcome to The Tickets, the podcast where we explore the cutting edge of customer service and support. Today is something of a part two. Last week we had a discussion on how to get buy-in from CS teams for AI, but this week we're looking at it through a slightly different obstacle, how to get buy-in from your execs for AI first CS. We're going to be hearing experiences of several folks in CS across different companies as to their experiences, and I'm also joined by our VP of Customer Support at Intercom, Declan Ivory. Declan, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks, Bobby. Delighted as always to be here and looking forward to an interesting conversation on how to get buy-in from execs.
A topic near and dear to your heart. So getting buy-in from execs can be a tricky one depending on your exec mindsets. Tell me more about that, Declan.
Yeah, I mean, I think the exec mindset is an interesting one because I think there's, different spectrums here. There are some execs who obviously, have tried generative AI tools themselves, are very kind of buzzed by what they see. And they're almost like pushing organizations like customer support to adopt quickly. And, this must be of a benefit to us. Like, why aren't we using it? Like, that's kind of one mindset. There's obviously another mindset where, people might see the potential power of it, but they've a lot of concerns around privacy, data access, etc. So there is differing mindsets, and it does mean as a support leader, you have to really understand the mindset of your executive team, what's important to them, and then make sure that you're positioning how you're choosing to deploy AI from a customer service point of view in that context.
Okay, first, let's get to know some of the customer leaders we're going to be hearing from, who they are, who they work for, and what their team size is.
My name's Constantina Samara. I work for Synthesia, an AI video generation company. I'm the head of customer support and moderation there. So I look after all the customer support stuff, but also just making sure that the kind of integrity and safety of the platform is upkept and maintained. So quite simply put, I think a lot of people think about video and they think about the hours and hours of editing that you need to do. They think about all the employees that you need to do that. And we've kind of cut all of that out of the way. We've made video really, really simple for customers and anybody really that uses Synthesia. So we turn pages and pages worth of text into really engaging content. So you have AI avatars on the screen. I think, we've all gone through really lengthy presentations and really lengthy kind of training sessions. So we've made all of that a really easy process, not just for the people that are creating the content, but more importantly, the target audience. So you have so many people now going through health and safety training videos. You've got people going through even sales pitches. You engage with the audience so much easier. So in a very short sentence, that's what we do. We provide text to video within the matter of minutes.
So I'm Pat Barlow. I'm the support lead at Dovetail. I've been doing support for maybe 7 or so years now at various companies. We're a tool that sort of helps product teams uncover insights from everywhere. So you'll bring in your sales calls, your support tickets, NPS, feedback, Slack threads, and it makes it into like one searchable sort of repository of all your insights. So you come in as a PM or as a researcher trying to understand something before you jump on a call, and you just type in like, what do customers think about our current search capabilities, and it will just pull all of that data. You can go and manually highlight, but we've got some cool stuff coming out with like automatic AI powered highlighting. So it's pretty cool. Company size is about 100 or so between here and SF, and then the support team is 3 people. So it's me here and 2 over in SF, which is like pretty cool because I've been here for about 2 years, and I think it's been between 2 to 3 people the whole time, even years before I was there. And then at the very start, there were probably more people because it was no support people, just the CEO, other co-founder, and all the other engineers doing support. So we've actually trimmed it down, luckily.
So we have 2 very different companies there, but customer support is really crucial to both.
Bobby, I think this is one of the most intriguing things about where we are at the minute in customer support, customer service. No matter what the size of organization, no matter where you are on your kind of maturity framework, AI has a role to play in helping you scale, helping you deliver support. So as different industries, different kind of product sets that need to be supported, it actually doesn't matter. AI has a role to play. And I think that's one of the great things about where we are as an industry.
Yeah, definitely agree. Okay, let's get to know our guests a little bit more and find out what their team's workflow was like before the introduction of AI. Let's start with Constantina from Synthesia.
Gosh, it's very process heavy, right? So before we introduced AI into what we do today, I'd say we still had your regular chatbots. We still had some form of automation, as most businesses do, right? But the actual process, first of all, setting it up was really, really work heavy. We needed a team of people to just figure out what this workflow is going to look like. But more importantly, we found that most customers would still end up with a representative because they still, a process can only do so much. A process can only interact with a customer so much. And therefore, you'd find that we were still very, I suppose, human-based heavy to be able to manage customers. And that can be quite tiring. It's quite repetitive. You put so much time and effort in making sure that your processes are supporting customers in real time. And actually you're finding that you're achieving the opposite. You're causing frustration prior to the customers coming through to you. So not fantastic, I'll be honest.
Oh, that's interesting. That definitely throws me back to bits of our old setup there as well. Let's hear from Pat at Dovetail and his team's workflow before the introduction of AI.
Yeah, a lot more manual. We really relied on saved replies, and that's just a pain because you have to go in and update those as well as all your help articles, as well as anything that goes on. Like a couple of times we changed our minimum for invoice billing, and it's not just a help article, it's not just a pricing page. You have to think about every single snippet or wherever someone has a saved reply in Gmail or in your support tool that you need to update. And not having to deal with that and having something just learn and understand, and it's just that carries over across everything, is just made life so much easier.
Both of those really resonate, but especially Pat's experience with having to update content all over the place. What do you think, Declan?
Yeah, maintaining consistency of the information and knowledge that you have available for your support team has always been a challenge. And obviously in an AI world or AI first world, it's critically important to have that content. But again, AI is actually helping you disseminate that information in a much better way, understand it, make sure you're presenting exactly what sources are being used, that you're using the most up-to-date information, etc. So it does transform that challenge of trying to manage content. But it doesn't take away from the fact that content is key in this environment. As I kind of said before, you got to feed the AI beast with the knowledge that's relevant for your business and pertinent for your business. So Pat's point is well made.
So for any of our listeners, I'm sure they are feeling both of those old world pains. They want this new world, this new way of AI. So let's get to the meat of this episode, which is how to get buy-in from execs for that AI. First, let's hear from Constantina. I think hers is interesting because of the fact that Synthesia is an AI company in the first place.
Yeah, no, that's a very fair point. And I've thought of that a lot because, we a fundamental part of what we do is AI, although yes, we have video and we've got a really fantastic platform that could be utilized without the AI part of the platform, I suppose. We're no strangers to AI, right? So the business has been built on that concept. However, surprisingly, there's still a bit of that nervousness of, okay, well, you're going to introduce this into the business, but what does that mean to the business? What does that mean to the customers? So for us, it was very much a case of trial, test, error, start again, right? So especially with the exec team, it was very much a case of, a lot of times we've, again, fall into the trap of trying to see a project through for 12 months to see, let's review in what's time and see what the results are. We didn't do that. We reviewed it weekly. We reviewed it monthly, and the data really spoke for itself. So when you are presenting teams, exec teams, whatever teams they are across the business, and the data very evidently, and I am very data driven, so that kind of helps. The data speaks for itself, and we saw success very, very early on. So it wasn't that hard to convince, but still needed to in some way or another. Look, I think for me, the fundamental part of success here is trial stuff, right? So rather than, especially organizations that have teams and teams and teams that support customers, don't try and roll it out all at the same time. I do often find that businesses or even, some of my peers will think, okay, well, if we're going to roll out AI, we need to do it across the entire business. Don't do that. Prove your concept. And I think everybody's process, everybody's way of working, all businesses have their own quirks, their own differences. So not, the way it's worked for us won't work for every single business. It's really important that you test and trial it in the way that would work for your company. Learn from your mistakes. Have a small little team that can test the theory as such and slowly and gradually start rolling it out. More importantly, make sure that that small team that you're starting the journey with is involved with the process from the beginning. Make them part of that journey. Bring them in, your scoping sessions. Get their opinion on how things might work, might not work. These guys deal with these processes and customers on a daily basis. So if there's anybody out there that will give you the right feedback to be able to make something like AI successful in your business, it's definitely the people that will be using it on a daily basis.
Very interesting experience. What do you think, Declan?
Yeah, I think there's three things stood out for me there. First was around really looking at things from the customer experience, like what is this going to do to your business was the term that I used, but really what's it going to do to your customers? And I think getting buy-in from execs, you really have to demonstrate you are thinking about the customer experience when you deploy AI, and you are being very thoughtful about how you're deploying it and what that customer experience is like and how you understand it. Second thing was about being data-driven. Like at the end of the day, being able to show like really strong metrics around how AI is performing for your business is pretty critical as well to give confidence to your execs that the investment has been worthwhile. Even down to looking at the resolution rate you're able to drive with an AI agent on a pretty regular basis. It's not a case of waiting 12 months and seeing the impact. It's waiting a number of days, a number of weeks to see the impact. You can actually measure very much in real time the impact of AI as you deploy it. And then this whole concept of kind of really testing it and getting the people on the ground involved and ensuring that it's implemented in the right way. And also, providing a level of assurance. This is what I kind of term a two-way door. Like, you can turn this on. If for whatever reason it's not working, it's easy enough to turn it off. You understand what didn't work well and iterate and go again. So this whole concept of it's not a big bang approach. It's, test it, deploy it on maybe a subset of your customers, learn, change, iterate and improve. Like it is really a manageable implementation, which again gives your execs a lot of confidence around your ability to implement this in a way that's not going to be disruptive to your business and disruptive to your customers, and ultimately is adding value, which is what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And one quick follow-up for you on the data side, what would be your advice to customers that are maybe struggling to get that data, or they have the data, but they're just unsure how to present it in a way that will be compelling and land with an exec audience?
I mean, a number of things, and a lot depends on your particular business, but even things like your ability for, to engage with your customers, what we call first response time, because you're only building up trust with your customers when you've engaged with them on whatever the problem or the issue is. And like fundamentally, an AI agent changes that whole concept of first response, because effectively you're getting immediate response with an AI agent. And as you then drive up, high resolution rates, like that is basically saying that whatever your resolution rate is, you're giving immediate service to your customers at that particular rate. And then as you measure the balance, i.e. what's coming through with your automation and human support team, again, looking at things like first response and being able to demonstrate that you're delivering a lot more consistency. And I think, Bobby, you've spoken before about the fact that when we've implemented AI agents, it's allowed us to recraft or rework our SLOs, our service level objectives, and actually tighten up. Like we can actually commit much faster first response times to our customers. So getting these type of metrics in front of people, which at one level are kind of traditional metrics, but you're showing how using AI is impacting those traditional metrics. And then obviously the other metrics you want to look at is metrics that are really pertinent for AI, which includes involvement rate. How much of your workload is actually being involved with AI? What's your resolution rate? Like, are you driving it up all the time as you tune your content to manage your content? So yeah, there are some different metrics, but you can still relate back to some of your traditional metrics and how they have been improved. And again, that just builds up exec confidence that overall you are delivering a better experience for your customers.
Let's go to Pat and Dovetail to hear their experience of getting buy-in from execs for AI.
You need everything else to fall into place. Like that, it happens multiple times where people think something's so cool, and then even just at the finance level or security level, it just gets shut down. They're like, no, we can't do that. So we're lucky that support in itself is already, it's got so much like data and stuff that already had all the security reviews and everything done for it. So adding AI on top was okay. The huge benefit for us was that we're a company that's building our own AI features. So obviously people have a base understanding of the benefits of it, how it can work. You don't need to sit down and tell someone what ChatGPT is. The biggest sort of advice that I would have would be to talk about the cost benefits of it. Like I never wanted us to be stuck in the same sort of loop of just having more customers, more support reps. I've worked at so many companies where that's the case, and you just lose so much control, and you end up with a team where you need to have a QA person, you need to have constant onboarding. We haven't touched our onboarding docs in over a year now because there's no need, and it's because our support reps enjoy doing what they're doing, and it's because they don't have to deal with all the random stupid tickets that are just a pain to deal with. We can also do 24/7 support while being cheaper than having one extra human.
That's some good stuff from Pat. I like that.
Yeah, I think the key point that Pat's bringing out is the ability of AI to allow you to scale your support operation without having to throw more humans at the problem, which, is prohibitive for many organizations, including going to 24/7 support. So I think that scalability that AI enables is compelling. Again, in terms of getting buy-in from execs, it's a very compelling reason to invest in AI. It's ultimately delivering a better experience for your customers as well. You can scale much better. You can provide 24/7 support. You can provide multi-language support as well. So yeah, excellent points made by Pat.
Finally, we thought we'd wrap up by asking Constantina and Pat what they think the future of CS is going to look like.
I honestly believe that we're heading into an era where these supporting teams are becoming the most successful teams in the business. And the reason I say that, I'm not saying that they weren't successful before, but there's really one critical thing that's changed, and that's the fact that AI has now taken the repetitive, really hands-on work that was just bringing teams down, in my opinion. It's all now shifted, right? So I've got a team of 30 people now who don't have to go through the same conversation time and time again. We're utilizing these people to really empower them to make a significant impact on customers. They're not as time-bound anymore because they don't have 100 conversations that they need to handle. They've got 40 conversations that they need to handle, yet they still have the same amount of time. So I find that these teams will absolutely thrive. And I think this will shake a few people, I think so many people are really fearful of what AI is going to bring. But quite the contrary, I believe that we're at a point now where your support teams out there can become the most successful they've ever been. And what an exciting journey to go on.
Yeah, it's changing a lot. Yeah, the funny... so one of our support reps over in SF, when she was in her interviews with the final interview with the co-founders, she asked where do you see this role in a year's time? And one of the co-founders was just dry and said, it doesn't exist. And it's you maybe shouldn't say that in someone's final interview. Do you want them to get the job or not? But luckily she understood what he meant. And it's that you're not going to be sitting stuck at a desk answering tickets constantly. I'm very happy that I can be in a position where I can lead a team with that backing. I don't ever want to be stuck at a desk doing live chats and phone calls, just waiting for the next thing to happen. I can't even go to the bathroom without being stressed about a live chat coming through. I don't want anyone to feel like that. And I think that's where we're headed, where we're very close with our product teams. And this gives us more than half the day that we can spend being in blitzes with them and actually working on dog fooding the product and being the voice of the customer in situations like that. All of our engineers are here, so it's easy for me to be that point of contact, and the freed up time is amazing. And our GTM teams are over in SF, and the support team is doing the same thing over there for those areas of the product. It's how can we help you with Salesforce things? How can we help you with sales calls? Because I'm not answering someone telling them how to delete a user in their workspace. It is basically not support anymore. You are supporting your company. We changed to product support internally because it kind of makes a bit more sense. We will just support anyone and just be the voice of the customer. That's a really important thing to not lose that, because I feel some people go into the wrong mindset of thinking support is just done. AI can do it, bye-bye. But that's your customer's voice. You need to still have a connection to it. And you also can't forget about your help center. If you just stop updating it, then it's the AI is hungry. It's not going to learn anything more.
Some very interesting predictions there. Okay, well, that wraps things up for today. I want to thank Declan for joining me, and a very special thanks to Constantina Samara, Head of Support at Synthesia, and Pat Barlow, support lead at Dovetail. As I mentioned at the top, this is a part 2. If you haven't heard our part 1 episode of getting buy-in from your CS team, go back and watch that. Thanks for listening, everyone.